Hello and welcome to anyone and everyone who's decided to watch this video. Today we are looking at the Studio Series 86 Dinobot Swoop, the fifth and final installment in our set of modern leader class Dinobots that we have all been waiting for, and maybe the worst of the five? I mean, one of them had to be. And, well, first things first, let's get these freaking swords off of him so we can get a better look at his Pteranodon mode. And here it is, laying down nice and flat with big silver wings that can be folded up and down to do some flapping. And they are meant to go back, but they kind of get disjointed from the arms. Like, this is weird, because you can unplug them from the arms to get some more movement. I mean, the robot arms, but there's also this little pull-out hinge that is clearly meant to mean you're supposed to keep it all connected together, but it doesn't really work. And something about his beak, I don't know, something about it just doesn't look right to me. The sculpt feels a bit weird. He's got a bit of a toucan-y feel to him. And he's got the big blocks of his feet on his back. Always actually kind of liked that look to Swoop. But, yeah. And then you can do it in standing up mode, but, it looks really goofy on this particular toy, having him in his standing mode here. I don't know, the neck is pulled so far back, and again, just that head is so weird, and the legs don't look right. I definitely think his dino mode is not as impressive as the others. And speaking of the others, let's bring them in here really quick for a group shot. We got Slug, Sludge, the big boy, the leader of the bunch, Grimlock himself, Sludge kind of sinks into the background because he's a lot smaller than he should be. And where are we gonna put Snarl? We'll put Snarl right here. Pull Sludge up so we can kind of see him more. And, of course, Slash. Good old little Slash. And there is our complete set of Dinobots. And they do look good together. Even if Swoop is kind of a little odd looking, the unified group at last is pretty great to see. But, yeah. Something about Swoop's Dino mode, it feels pretty off to me. I don't know why. It just doesn't have the same impact as the previous four do. Like, it's still fun to take him and have him do some swooshing through the air, but just it doesn't feel as fun to play around with. So let's see if his robot mode is as much of a letdown as the dino mode. And here he is, looking very sharp in his bright Sumbo blue that I've always thought was an interesting choice to do with him. It makes him look very different from his fellow Dinobots, and has always helped him stand out a little bit. And something I probably should have mentioned while he was still in Dino mode is you can pull off the tops of his missiles to make them look like they're being fired, I guess. And you can also just pull these off and put them in his hands as little guns so he can go shooty all over on things. So just a feature to get out of the way, and Just gonna leave them there on the wings like they're supposed to be if we're going for cartoon accuracy. And I do think the robot mode looks way better than the dinosaur form, but I still gotta complain a little bit about the head. First off, I didn't realize how straight up his horn is in robot mode, but if that's how it's supposed to be, that's how it's supposed to be. But I always kind of imagined it more slick back. But his face, something feels weird about his face, especially the lips. It's just not completely right to me. Just something about the noggin on both takes for this guy. Both forms. They just ain't working too well for me. I do like the dino legs becoming his thighs. That's very traditional for Swoop, but even still, I just think it looks cool. I think it's pretty good looking, and he's got nice robot boots. He is one of the cooler designs of the Dinobots. In fact, I'm pretty sure that he is the second most popular behind the big boy Grimlock. That's probably why they saved him for last. I mean, there's no conclusive evidence that he is the second most popular, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure it's true. Movement is just everything a Transformer can do nowadays. Oh yeah, pull his torso apart like that. You can use that. Why would you? It's such a useless joint. But, you know, he can get into all the poses you'd want him to. You know, he's not really limited by anything. His wings move out of the way pretty well. So, he's definitely a super articulated Transformer. And his robot mode is definitely better than the Dino mode. And he's got his sword that he can hold like this. I don't know why you would want a giant pipe in front of your sword. Feels like it's going to restrict the blade, but hey, he's got it. He can use it. And what about that other sword he came with? Well, if you know your Transformers, you know that sword is not actually meant for Swoop. It is a sword meant for, of course, Slash, so that she can live up to her namesake and mow down as many Decepticons as she can. But if you didn't want to give it to her for some reason, you could maybe try giving it to Grimlock here. I don't know why anybody would want Grimlock to have a sword. I mean, he only ever had a gun in the animation, so don't know why anybody would want him to have a sword. It's actually very tight in Grimlock's hand, though, which is weird, because Swoop holds them all just fine, and I don't know why it would be so tight for other figures, but it is. And it is a little bit bizarre, and also we can now see that Swoop is slightly smaller than his fellow Dinobots if we go from head to head and ignore this little crest thing, which I don't know how true that is to the animation. I know in the long wait it took to get this guy, everybody kept talking about how much smaller Swoop is, and I never noticed it in the cartoon if it's true that Swoop is smaller than the other Dinobots. And if so, that makes me wonder why he's so much smaller in the animation. But, you know, it doesn't look bad having him be smaller, but I feel like he could have been a tidbit bigger. But speaking of size with the other Dinobots, let's just bring them in now so we can see how they all look together in their robot forms. We'll bring in my boy Snarl, the one who actually had a sword in the cartoon, and at least these swords aren't made out of the same soft stuff they made his out of, at least. And we'll put him back here, and then we'll bring in Sludge again, right here, and Slug, who's looking off into space. Slug, come on. And bring back in little sister Slash, and there we go. We got a nice Dinobot family portrait going on right here. And admittedly, given how small Slash is, we can have Swoop be a little bit more tiny, have some more size discrepancy in the team here. And they all look really good together. It's definitely nice to have them all together, and even though none of them are bad, like, I'm not trying to say Swoop is a bad toy or anything, it's just one of them had to be the worst, and I sadly do think it's him. I feel like a lot of people are going to say Sludge, just because he is admittedly a little loosey-goosey in his joints and stuff, but something about Swoop, something about him is just not hitting right for me. And, could just be me. Maybe I'm just a weirdo. I don't think the toy is bad at all. In fact, out of all the Swoop toys I've had, because I have the Age of Extinction one and the Power of the Primes one, I think he's better than the both of them. Even though I really like those two previous versions. But I do think this one is better than those. And I think all of these are great, and if you are a Dinobots fan, you should have gotten this set. Hopefully you will get this set. Apparently Grimlock might be getting reprinted, so if he's getting reprinted, maybe the other boys will be. But Swoop just came out, so he'll be pretty easy to find. But yeah, overall a really good set of Dinobots. Probably safe to say that it's the best set of Dinobots we've ever gotten. I mean, we don't actually usually get to have all 5 of them, so the fact that we finally got them all again, and at as good of a quality as we did, that's a pretty great thing to have, and very, very pleased with them overall, even if Swoop doesn't, I don't know, maybe I'm just a weirdo not getting into Swoop as much as I have the other 4. But yeah, I think I've said enough and have rambled on enough, so thank you all for watching, and see you guys around.